We're back with another ARP-2600 tutorial. So this was requested, so we're going to break this down into a few steps. We're going to talk about duophonics. So the ARP is a monophonic synthesizer, which means it only plays one note at a time. However, it does have 3 oscillators, so technically you can get more than one note out of this because, it has 3 different pitches that could happen. Now we can do this manually where we just tune the oscillators to different pitches, but that means you play one note and you get, your 3 notes out, but as you move up, it doesn't necessarily go within a key, because a perfect fifth travels through the entire key whether it's in the key or not, So what you can do is there's a few ways to split it up in the newer versions of the ARPs. So on mine, I'll show you the basics first here. We've got an upper voice coming out of the keyboard. So my keyboard just has a little jack that says upper voice. And all we have to do is plug that in to any oscillator's keyboard CV. And then the top note you play will come out of the keyboard in that oscillator. So maximum here is 2 notes from the keyboard. So I'm going to plug it into oscillator 3. Well, first let's start with what do we sound like. Just normal sound here. I've got, everything normaled. So square wave an octave down. I've got a pulse wave and a sawtooth. So if I plug into oscillator 3 here, we can get 2 notes. So I'm just holding a C and playing the top notes, and they are coming out of oscillator 3. And it's a really cool thing. If you crank up the reverb, you can get these pretty epic things. I'm going to put the mic down real quick. Okay, so that's what we've got going on. If you don't have the keyboard, we have some handy outputs over here on the left. So keyboard CV1 is the low note. So if I take keyboard CV1 and plug it in here, we'll get the low note, and the high note comes out of keyboard CV2. Technically, you really don't need the keyboard CV1 because it's just coming out of the keyboard anyway. I don't have anything plugged into oscillator 2, but it's not going to affect anything. Okay, but we get some nice chords out of there. So a trick you can try is I can take the upper voice out of the keyboard into oscillator 2, the CV2 into oscillator 3, and CV1 into oscillator 1. So what that means is this first oscillator is going to play the low notes, and these 2 are going to play the high notes. Now, why would we want to do that? So you kind of have to answer that for yourself, but here's one idea. I can make a supersaw type of thing with the detuned upper voices. Turn oscillator 1 down just a minute. Okay, let's make this a little splatty. Okay, so now my low notes will be just the square wave from oscillator 1, and I'll have a supersaw, sort of, a 2 oscillator supersaw on the high notes. So let's take a listen to that. Okay, so that's one possibility. Hope that gives you something to play with.